two different sides between how people want to continue that culture here in the US. And before I start, I really want to thank Allison Lester. She's a UC grad student who helped me through the study, and she helped me conduct the study as well as interpret the data that I got from the study. So this project of mine was like a passion project, and what we did was we gathered a lot of American Indian children and their parents and separated them into two groups. And we gave them a series of questions, and we wanted the first response that they gave, that got in their head. So like their first reaction to the question. And we did the same with the parents, and then after we got their individual question answers, we got them into a group and had a group discussion about it. And so, if you guys have an index card right now, or you guys can always pick it up later, if you could answer these few questions, and I would like to get your perspective on Indian culture, specifically on how you see Indian culture in the future, and if we should preserve it here in our families, and if yes, what can you do? Like, what are some ways that you can take action to ensure that it will continue to thrive here in the US? So here are some prompts that I asked both groups during the study. I will start with the American Indian kids. So some of the prompts that I asked them, and if you are an American Indian or a child, I would like you to think of these prompts and see what you would answer in relation to these prompts. So I asked them, Indian culture means to me, would you grow up in India on a cultural standpoint? And if I were to lose my identity, I would feel blank. And the biggest barrier for Indian Americans to preserve their Indian culture is, and we definitely need to blank to keep our Indian culture strong here in the US. I see Indian culture in the future as, and what do you think would happen if your families, were to lose your culture of origin completely? And so, to all the parents in the audience, if you could start to see how you would answer these prompts. The first one is, 20 years from now, Indian culture in America will be, the biggest barrier to preserving culture in today's society is blank. We usually remain silent about, and if I were to lose my Indian identity, I would be, my Indian culture's hopes and dreams for my children are, and I see American culture influencing Indian culture by, and finally, if my child were to marry a non-Indian, how would I feel? So after asking, these are just some of the questions that I asked them. So after asking, I have a little summary of all the data that I collected during this project. And so the American Indian perspectives, these students in my community believe that Indian culture is their identity. Something without it makes them feel empty. As an Indian American, they believe it's their duty to keep the culture alive and to prevent it from being fizzled out. They understand that consequences of not understanding their culture can be detrimental. And they believe that not only them, but other Indian Americans should embrace their identity, as it is up to them to prevent it from diluting here in the US. It requires due diligence and passion to learn all the various aspects that makes us Indian. And during the study, I really liked a statement that someone made, and I'm going to quote it directly from that. The only culture that you know is the culture that you're in. I really liked that point that they made, and I really wanted to share it with you guys today. And there are various outlets on how we can preserve American culture, and dance, they believed, was the easiest entrance to Indian culture. And another form of showcasing culture at the same time of preserving Indian culture is to be proud of who you are and wear Indian clothes. It helps represent what being Indian really means. But as an Indian American not living in India, sometimes they feel like ashamed to wear Indian clothes. And not as because of their Indian culture, but as they will be judged. And they believe that one should wear what's right for you and make sure you feel comfortable in what you wear and where you are. These students also believe that one way they could take action is to learn from each other in various organizations and help people become aware, not just their Indian American peers, but their other friends of different ethnic backgrounds, to get a better understanding of their identity. They also believe that another action item they could do is, if they had the opportunity, is to hold an Indian food day, and have everybody try different Indian foods and get the flavors of India. Now, in our current political climate, students believe that there are now more than ever, we have to raise our voice and talk about how wonderful and rich our Indian culture is. As they also believe that it's really nice that politicians acknowledge Indian culture, such as Obama when he lights lamps for Diwali in the White House, Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, how he celebrates Pongal, and as well as designates January as a National Tamil History Month. And also, they would like to also acknowledge Donald Trump when he acknowledges Indian culture during his campaigning season. So that was a lot I just gave you guys. So I'm going to summarize this really quickly in a couple sentences. So as an Indian American, they feel like it's their duty to follow traditions and preserve Indian culture with their voice and in their families. But at the same time, they want to adjust and keep up with the society they live in today, the American lifestyle. And essentially, they feel like they're living in the hyphen of American Indian. So this is the parents' perspective. So I asked the parents to listen to the kids' perspective and give what their response is. And this is what their response was. Parents in my community believe that change in family is inevitable, and that there is a possibility of losing Indian culture and families in future generations. But how we embrace the change with our kids will be the most important factor in preserving Indian culture. Indian culture is parents' and families' identities, so their biggest fear is not now, but down the road, extinction of Indian culture. Parents think that preventing this fear from becoming a reality is the increase in number of group activities in the community and make the kids participate in them. When they were kids, some parents said that they were forced to learn history, traditions, and background with like a no questions asked mentality, and so they feel like that's a way that kind of like a backing out motivation, and they don't want that for their kids. So they believe that if we open up our arms and like help them guide their way through Indian culture, it'll be more of a positive motivation to learn more. And they also believe that their kids should learn discipline, as it is a big aspect of Indian culture, such as respecting your elders, saying hello and goodbye to all the adults at the party or a gathering, and etc. One of their fears is that maintaining relationships with family in India is decreasing, a big correlation to understanding Indian culture. And so parents believe one of the solutions that we could prevent from these problems is to make the children ask why. Like, why do we do certain things? And make them have a passion to learn and understand aspects of culture. Like, why are some actions done in puja? And bonding with their elders in India, and learning about traditions that they had to do as a kid. They also believe that children should follow their ancestors' traditions as they are logical and scientific and beneficial for our health. Like Holi, Bangles, Bindi, all these have specific reasons in our tradition. And to understanding those traditions and reasons, well, it's just one step further. So with these two groups, I have a message for you guys as well. I feel like that we should spread the beauty and spread the word and show everyone what it means to be Indian. Pass it on in your family. Keep it alive. Help them understand the significance of our rituals, traditions, attire, and food. If we simply keep this knowledge to ourselves, make the people unaware, uninformed, the ancient beauty that was created 2,000 years ago will simply just die. Especially in our tense political climate today, it's more important than ever to show the world what it means to be Indian and break these stereotypes that society instills on us today as Indians. We should embrace it and spread the knowledge, shape your own identity with Indian culture. And remember, our culture, our values, and our traditions is what defines us as being Indian. Thank you.